Hey my Shuga Bears, welcome back to my channel, Bougie AF. It's your host, Nicole. It's where I say stay bougie on them. It's me feeding you feminism for the soul. It's my soul food offering. It's where I apply pressure to issues by being critical and logical. Now don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Now let's get to the commentary where I can guarantee you I will be doing too much because that's just me. And like Sheree said, who's gonna check me, boo? Welcome back, y'all. You are tuned in to the Bougie AF channel. This is your girl, Nicole, where I say stay bougie on them, and I'm serving you feminism from the soul. Check me out on them people's Instagram at BougieAF_ish. Also on Twitter at I'm_bougie_AF. So listen. It's not going to be a really long intro today. I'm just going to tell you briefly about a conversation I had today on the Clubhouse with a gentleman in regards to reparations. Just to tell everyone, please get involved into the movement. Do your research. Find out about it. If reparations is also known as 40 acres and a mule. If you know that slaves were promised 40 acres and a mule at the end of the Civil War and never got that. And Black Americans want to collect on that because we really feel as if though, because of slavery, because of Jim Crow, because of the redlining, because of what ends up happening civil rights movement, that Black Americans are just really way behind and have never been able to catch up in a way that's been significant and beneficial for us in this country because of everything that we've had to fight and go through. The Black codes, the Reconstruction period, all of these things, and you see me or hear me, I'm sorry, all these things you hear me calling out is my way of saying that's what you need to be out here researching. That's what you need to look up and get familiar with to be able to make the argument for reparations and why it's still needed in 2023. And just be aware of some of the talking points that the other side will come up with in terms of trying to push back on why we should not get reparations, right? A lot of times, shout out California for being the second or third state to really look at reparations in a way that's been significant. And Massachusetts now is the second state that's really looking at reparations and trying to find it and study and figure out how we would go about paying reparations. And so I hope other states push their mayors to also do the same things and pick up the conversation, pick up these talking points, talk to your family about what's going on, right? 2 years. There's been conversations being had for 2 years on Clubhouse. And a lot of times I found people were always trying to make it seem as though, oh, ain't nobody talking about that. That's not that big of a deal. I remember there's some people who have been so arrogant in terms of this gentleman from Boston. Let's just call him Broad. Let's call him Broad. No, I'm gonna call him Broad. Let's call him Broad. I think there's if he ever listened, he'll know why I call him Broad. So there's Broad, and then there is I'm just gonna say it, the GOAT. And there was always these people who wanted to be antagonists to the movement, push back against the movement, try to call the movement crazy and say as if though people didn't have real legit points that they were standing on in terms of why it's needed. And so just to see that it's being picked up, just to see 2 years later, the conversation is just growing, and the movement is just growing, right? So Massachusetts came out, they're going to study it, they're studying it in California. I think the last thing I'll say about it, again, get involved, have these conversations with your other Black American ass people. I think a lot of times what I found on this app was that people were really surprised because I'm someone who's actually been really kind of paying attention to how we feel about certain things for a very long time, even as a little girl, being very aware and being extremely blackety black, okay? Some of the diaspora wars, I ain't new to this, I'm true to this, right? In terms of going back and forth and playing the dozens and, saying shit to West Indian people and stuff like that. I grew up doing that. Where I grew up, we used to always get into these little conversations, right? I know I had an ex-boyfriend, he was Jamaican, and he used to talk real slick about Black Americans, and I used to have to be like, you better go back to your country and sell something, get a mango stand. It went there. So I was not unaware, or these conversations weren't new to me. This is not a new behavior exhibiting around this issue. Like, it's really not. So with that being said, I was not surprised to see this conversation being had on Clubhouse, because I knew in real life I was having this conversation. But there were people who try to make it seem, or do try to make it seem, as though it's not real, it's not happening in real life. And it's like, no. So like I said, it's been really dope to see other Black Americans across the country. And like I said, there's a true representation of people in all the areas of the country right now on Clubhouse who have participated in these conversations, that agree with how we feel in terms of like even immigration, how we feel in terms of like what how we've been socializing with other minority groups in our communities, in terms of like the Asians and Indians and the South Americans and Mexican people, and what that's really looked like in terms of like really considering ourselves BIPOC, right? I guess, people of color, and not really rejecting that, with saying is that we don't feel it's been a reciprocal type of relationship and support within the United States, right? Because it's been a lot of advocacy on our part to push against the United States government and letting other minority and other minority groups migrate here, right? In terms of like Africa, we've been instrumental in that. A lot of Africans being coming over, also in Haiti, right? We've lent a lot of support in that. So we just don't feel, at times we don't get that same type of support where people are migrating here and assimilating and really kind of getting treated better than Black Americans in a lot of ways, and benefiting from a lot of programs that were intended for Black Americans, because that's essentially what we fought for. So just not feeling it's reciprocal, and not feeling as if though we're tired of carrying other groups of people, and we don't get that same support. What we get is, oh, why you guys can't get your shit together? What's wrong with you guys? You guys are lazy. You're not taking advantage of what you have here. And we're constantly pushing back and saying there's been so many things in our way. We're just actually getting to that place in society where we're just not fighting not to be hanged. Like, what are we talking about? Or fighting not to be killed in police interactions, right? Like, this is consistently something that through our history that has showed up on a consistent basis, that, or even other hurdles in terms of like red lines and not having access to capital and stuff like that, or great education and stuff like that. Like, all these things that we've been fighting for, or having to fight through, and it being totally ignored by people who immigrate here. And it then making us, or, insinuating as if though the problem has been us all these years. Like, so, seeing that and having to come to terms with that, and really feeling as if though, listen, we ain't got time to figure out, we ain't got time to figure out what's going on in Haiti. We gonna double back and figure that out maybe later. We don't have time to figure out what's going on in any other country, because there's so much going on here in the United States, right? I have that same politic across the board in terms of like illegal immigration. Because I just feel like there's just so much here that needs to be attended to in terms of the education system. So yeah, so, please get involved with reparations. That's what I wanted to open up with today. The talking points that I think you need to be aware of, that some people will use to push back against, is that nobody who's alive now was a slave. Nobody who's alive now owned slaves. If you really do know the history of our country, and I think I was looking it up today, and I think they said there was at least 4 different times reparations was paid to a group of people for tragedies or atrocities that occurred against them. We know the Native Americans got some form of a settlement or reparations, right? Settlement, reparations are all, if you look up the meaning of words, you'll see repair in there. So they all mean or form of the same type of thing, right? So that's extremely important when you hear people talk about what the United States don't do, right? They do repair, they do settlements and stuff like that. So you have the Native Americans that have gotten some form of repair. You have the Korean, was it the Koreans? I'm sorry, where is it? The Japanese, who got form of reparations after World War II. I think they got theirs about like 40 years later from what I remember reading this morning. So it wasn't right afterwards. What else? I think Rosewood was also another one that was listed. There's a fourth one. So, just looking into different things like that and seeing how reparations at some point in time have been paid. So you have that you can throw out there as reparations being paid. Some people will say, well, some of those reparations were specifically paid to direct descendant, no, were paid to people who were actually still alive that was affected by it. Now, what is happening is that out of those four reparations, the only one that not only one, but from what I can think of right now that mirrors our situation is the form of reparations that has been given to Native Americans, right? In terms of like when the settlement or whatever was given to them in terms of like land and stuff like that, that was given to people who were descendants of former Indians from, I guess we're gonna time period the American Revolution or the oh, it's late, y'all. Trail of tears that happened with the Cherokee, like the descendants, like people who survived since the groups that we can identify that have survived since the atrocities that have happened to the Native American people here. So theirs is most definitely based in lineage, right? And so that's essentially what we're asking for as Black Americans. So you'll hear that argument comes up a lot. And then you'll meet the purists. And the purists are interesting. These are people who will try to hold on to the Constitution and what the founding fathers intended and what this country was built on, right? So you'll have the gentleman who I spoke to today. He's like, well, this country is built on individualism and you being able, again, he doesn't say bootstrap, but essentially describes bootstrapping in terms of building yourself up, not essentially looking for handouts. That's what America is built on, and people have been able to be successful without needing handouts. And so, he says like reparations would be something that'd be totally going against what this country was supposed to be for. And this is a clever argument. And if you don't know, essentially a lot of American history and have a lot in your bag to kind of pull from. So what I essentially said to that man, I said, that's interesting. You feel like it's though bailouts and reparations is like goes totally against what America stands for in terms of like, what it was founded on. I said, if I have to think and look over our history in general, and if you start to realize after the Great Depression and in terms of the social programs that was created, that it really is attributed, you can attribute the middle class that was created, the middle class that developed in this country was most definitely kicked off by the social programs that was created after the Great Depression and stuff like that, and the loans and stuff like that was given to people and stuff like that. So I say I don't know necessarily. I feel like that's a program that was created that essentially, from what this gentleman was saying to me, goes against what he says the country was founded on and standing on, right? And well, he then, because he thought I didn't know, said, well, but it was successful before. And I said, no, not really. I said, from what I remember, as early as the early 1900s, from immigrants were coming over, the Irish and the Italians and stuff like that. Even if you start thinking about people going out west and settling out west and stuff like that, people were poor. Sod houses and stuff. People were poor. That's where the pioneer women and stuff. Y'all don't remember them shows? Little House on the Prairie type of shit. People were poor, right? So when I have someone trying to tell me or try to position history in a way where facts don't support it, I know to tell you that no, we don't see the growth within, or there being a middle class being established until after those social programs were established, until after there was a universal educational system that was put in place into this country. So that being said, you could most definitely say these social programs was needed. And then there's also other incidents within, our history where you see the government has bailed out corporations and giving them all types of tax breaks, and most notably the automobile and, the airline industry have gotten bailouts and stuff like that. And that totally goes against, standing on your 1-2 and making it happen for yourself and not accepting any type of government assistance and stuff like that. So there are there's a lot of examples that really suggest that this purest perspective of like what the country is supposed to be about is not really there. I'll take it even a step further. I've read a lot of tort law, like in terms of like lock papers and like old English laws and even some French laws, to know that Jefferson and our founding fathers were very heavily inspired by a lot of pre-existed laws that talked about like property and stuff like that. So, with that being said, I think, me and him had a very cordial understanding that he was wrong, and that he most definitely did have to say, yes, you're right. This country has consistently been going against what supposedly in its purest form it was created and supposed to stand on. And I guess each his own. I mean, I think in terms of America being the land of opportunity, most definitely it is the land of opportunity, but it's not the land of opportunity for everyone, right? And there's been times that, the country's had to step in and, get involved. So get involved with reparations, have that conversation. There's just a lot of groups. You can email me. You can come on the clubhouse. Just be careful with them. Some of them are not all there. This just is what it is. That's just the way of the world. But you're gonna learn a lot. You're gonna get in community with people who are able to just kind of reaffirm what you feel is happening in this country towards Black Americans. And for me, it's really important to tell people, hold these city officials accountable. Let's stop celebrating if they're working. When they retire, we're gonna have to. They're gonna make enough money. They're gonna be great and be celebrated. But while they're working in Congress and serving the public, hold these people responsible. Hold these people responsible. One more example, and then I'm out. This past week, it came out that the mayor of Boston and the superintendent of Boston is really heavily investing back into Boston public schools with a lot of federal funding that is being given to cities because of the PPP, because of COVID, right? So there's a lot of money that the federal government is giving back to cities and schools to try to make up for that and try to help, fix some issues, right? It's not just Massachusetts getting this money. Find out what your state is doing with their money. Find out what your state is doing to reinvest into your schools, and that means like it's places like South Carolina where you have lifetime serving congressmen and senators. Make sure that they are make sure they are getting to the money for your state, right? I can say one thing about Elizabeth Warren and Ayanna Presley. I can't even think the white dude's name, but they get into it for Massachusetts, and I'm not bragging about it. I'm just telling you that's what they're supposed to do. And so you need to be making sure that your senators and your representatives are showing up, have a presence, actually respected, and able to make some things happen for your states. So, all right, so let's get into it. We are going to do a little Instagram scroll. I got a couple stories that I do want to talk about. Talking about education, though, there was this story that did come out today. It's a little sad, but it's about Baltimore, and this is why I'm telling you hold these city officials responsible. If you don't know, the esteemed Elijah Cummings, who served, and it was a who was a longtime representative out of Baltimore, in the House of Representatives out of Baltimore. And I think he served in that seat for over 30 years. And what I do know, I'm going to look into it more. I think I did look into Baltimore when I did the redlining thing. I did pull up some information about them. But what I do know is that we've had this black congressman in office for like over 25 years, and he has passed away, so rest in peace to him. I'm not going to disparage his name or anything like that, but it's a tragedy when we let people sit in seats and we're not paying attention to what's going on in the districts that they serve, right? Again, Massachusetts, I know, is really an anomaly, oh, whatever, you know the word, because of all the universities and all of the pharmacy industry that we have here. We are able to attract a lot of businesses and stuff like that in this area, because of all of that. A lot of other states really do struggle with attracting new businesses and opportunities within their states and stuff like that. And it's really important that your senators are finding ways to attract people to come into these states and provide these opportunities, that your city officials are working on bringing resources and opportunities to your state. And so be on them. And I think when you look at somewhere like Baltimore and you had Elijah Cummings sitting there for over 20 something years, and I see a story like this, say what Baltimore residents speak out after test results show 23 schools in Baltimore have zero students doing math at grade level. Take your kids out these schools. So this is found on the Neighborhood Talk, and it says, neighbors, unfortunate news have surfaced regarding schools in Baltimore. According to Fox News 23, schools in Baltimore have zero students proficient in math. That is crazy. The news was discovered after state test results were released and showed a number of Baltimore schools where not a single student is doing math at a grade level. We're not living up to our potential, said Giovanni Patterson, a Baltimore resident who made headlines in January 2022 when he filed a lawsuit against Baltimore City Schools. The suit claims the district is failing to educate students and in the process misusing taxpayer funds. Follow the money. Follow the money. Follow the money. Like, that just is what it is. Follow the money. Call these motherfuckers out. Follow the money. We're sure there are a number of factors that go into this, including teachers' pay, not having enough resources to properly educate students. However, according to Patterson, the answer to the problem is clear. My immediate reaction is take your kids out of these schools, says Patterson. Per the report, Baltimore City's math scores were the lowest in the state. Just 7% of third through eighth graders tested proficient in math, which means 93% could not do math at grade level. Ooh, that is so bad. Neighbors, what do you think should be done to help these students? Wow, that is really, really, really bad. So, I'm not gonna go too deep. I remember when I did some research and I was looking at the ACLU, and I was looking into like the school to prison pipeline, and so I've come to the conclusion myself that it's the funding, it's the structure of like how schools are set up, and I just think we got to get to this place, and Black Americans or Black people cannot be ashamed to say that our kids need a lot more testing, right? There's probably a lot of kids that are in normal classroom settings where they probably shouldn't, right? They should probably be in settings of smaller classrooms with more resources to help them. And that takes a lot of money, right? So I come from a town that had those resources, right? But also didn't have 20 or 30 students per grade that needed those type of resources, right? I think at most at times probably what five, like I'm gonna say about 7 to 10 students per grade probably needed extra services or extra help. But even all of that wasn't like everybody didn't need the same amount, right? So it varied. So you can even dwindle it down to probably like 3 or 4 students per each grade. By the time I got to middle school, 3 or 4 each students who probably needed the smaller classrooms and 2 teachers in a classroom type of setting and stuff like that. So with that being said, could you imagine like school districts in our cities who probably have 20, 30, 40 students who need like real services, right? That puts a strain on the budgets and stuff like that. So I think I've just come to the conclusion that there's just the services that are needed and probably students who are probably, oh, they're not severely have like they don't have the disabilities that you can't tell off rip, right? Like there's some disabilities, like, there's levels to it. That's just all I'm saying. And there's probably some kids who are probably just above that level, but it probably still need that attention. That are being pushed to be in normal classrooms, and teachers are having to find ways to educate people that have who need extra help that they probably can't give them in a on normal classroom setting. So I've come to the conclusion there's probably just way more kids in classroom settings that they shouldn't be in, right? And again, what do we do about that? Because again, budget funding, it costs, right? Like coming from the town I come from, they were able to offer people speech therapy. At one point in time, my sister got like we got like she got like free she got like free camps. Like you just got a lot. They really, they really were tuned into. So with that being said, I took myself out of my grown ass. Like I don't know why somebody let me do that, but it is what it is. But yeah, so it really does matter, like where your kid goes to school and stuff like that. So let's see what my co-hosts in the comments say. I wish I had brought up the article in from Massachusetts, well Boston, where the mayor is, talking about, really paying attention to literacy, and really getting in there and trying to offer more services to these kids, because it's a problem. All right, so what does my co-host have to say? So it also starts at home. You really have to be on these kids to do their homework and teach them. Only so much teachers can do. I totally agree with that. We're gonna like that. It's only so much. I don't think at any point in time in life that the first time your kid see a book or, went over their one, two, threes or attempted to read with your child or any of that, it should not be the first day of school. Like, that's just strange. Like, there's no way, like, you're really setting your kid behind if the first person to introduce them to education will be their teachers. Like, that is too much for them to bear, to be honest with you. And I bet half of them come to school fresh as ever and with the latest phone. The time and some of the money they spend on that stuff should be spent on a tutor. Education doesn't stop at 3 p.m. Whenever my daughter struggled in the subject, I paid for a tutor. It can't all fall on the school. Come on now. Totally agree. And I totally agree because, like, people want to say like people are poor and all this other stuff and they're having a hard time, and which that's a fact, but I also am a firm believer like people pay for like what they want. Like they make shit happen, like your kid being in all the latest, and people rewarding kids for nothing is really crazy. But I think at some point in time, like some of these parents, that's like, even if you just have a weed habit a week, you might be spending $100 a week, $100 and something dollars a week on weed. And the fact of the matter is, it don't cost that much to pay someone to tutor your child, like in high school. Even if you paying somebody to come through, 2 hours a week to tutor your kid, what's that, $50, $60? And some people are not gonna make that sacrifice. Like it just is what it is. So I think it's all in terms of like what's important to you. Let's see what else is out there. I'm not reading paragraphs. Oh, okay, I'll read hers because she says educator here. Educated here, the No Child Left Behind Act truly did children a disservice, despite the efforts of the educators to SST children. I don't know what that means. Notify admin of students who are behind. Meeting with parents to discuss the gaps. Let's discuss the gaps. Oh. Children with failing grades are still passed along. I have students who are in third grade who don't know that their letters, sounds, can't read, and can barely count consecutively. Oh my God. But I guarantee you they will pass along to the next grade level. The sad reality is once they are pushed beyond first and second grade without those foundational skills, it's a losing battle because teachers are told to teach grade level material, so those kids who have significant gaps won't catch up without serious intervention in school and at home. That is very sad. And then not being able to count consecutively, like that's I'm speechless. I'm speechless, but also I told y'all the time I went to the supermarket and the kid, instead of counting out the change, he gave me more change than I needed back. Right? So like you can't count or something like that. So that's really concerning. Those teachers came to school. Let's be clear. Those teachers came to school and teach during the pandemic. Y'all let your kids play Roblox and sleep. Of course, they 2 years behind. They literally did nothing for 2 years. Blame the parents, not the system. At what point do we ask parents to step up? Okay. I don't know about Baltimore, but my child doing math on her grade level. These standardized tests aren't as useful as they may seem, but go off. Um, Oh God, another paragraph. There are so many variables that exist. Parents need to be held accountable, but if the demographics are anything like ATL, you probably have a slew of kids raising kids, including those in high school who have actual children in pre-K. Ooh, that's crazy. There are so many nuances that we are failing to address because we are looking for test scores. They actually that are actually measured by white middle class standards. I'm not quite sure what point is that trying to be made about white middle class standards because your child has to enter society against other people who may be educated in the middle class or in white communities, right? The key is to make sure that your kid can be on their level and compete in the workforce, right? Like, so I'm not quite sure what point that is being made. I'm not quite sure why we always have to pull that into the conversation. Literally, we're not even talking about um, real high. Like we're not this. Like literally, we're just talking about counting. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like we're literally talking about counting at this point, right? Like if a teacher just wrote on these comments that after third or fourth grade, if the kid don't get enough help or get the help they need by then, they're just lost to the system. So to bring in white people in terms of like, I don't think this is comparing your kid being able to count 1, 2, 3. They count real fine by third and fourth grade. And I can tell you that for a fact. So I'm not quite sure what that's supposed to say. Uh, Kids shouldn't have social media. I agree. 16 and up, please. If you see how kindergartners hang out now with phones, shit's dangerous. I agree. I blame the parents and community members on this. Y'all so quick to blame teachers, but how many of y'all are working with kids at home? Facts. Take the kids out of the school question. How about help teach your kid at home? How about you show up to the school and be present and active? Facts. How about update your contact number with the school so we can get in contact? Ooh, she's getting personal. Let's stop pretending that the school is the only one doing this. Where the hell is the accountability? Capital. They're more concerned with if their kids are dressed in the latest fashions than their education. I agree. People feel some sort of way. These are like been nothing but paragraphs. Like, and people had time. So that lets me know how big of a problem it is. Like, literally, these are just like paragraphs people are writing. So it's really a problem. I mean, there was just a video that came out a couple weeks ago of this teenager fighting her teacher. So yeah, y'all, it's going down out here. All right, so y'all know I don't like talking about Chrisean and BlueFace all that much, but I thought this was an interesting story. We've seen Chrisean and BlueFace and that whole situation in the news. I mean, on social media a lot, right? They are marketing themselves as the Bobby and Whitney. What's Love got to do? Oh, Crazy in Love is their show on Zeus. And you have Chrisean. I guess they say she's the breakout star of their situation. And so what's happening is that Chrisean is being celebrated or rewarded. I think more rewarded for exhibiting behavior that's like New York from Flavor of Love, but times 10. Like very violent, very ignorant, very degenerative. I think if you talk about things you want to hide in the black community in terms of like some of the behavior and the social issues that we have, Chrisean would be a great example of Chrisean and BlueFace would be a great example, and BlueFace's mother and them, like the whole family, would be that family that you don't want the public to know that you related to. Like you gonna be like, no, no, this cousin is not coming to this event. They will not be on cameras. Like this is not what we do. Like this is that situation. Like really, really toxic, embarrassing, all the ghetto shit that you could possibly hear happening is happening within with this couple. I don't know, some people like, I don't know if I feel like some of it is forced. I just know it's weird to see, and this is what I get perplexed in the black community. We want to talk about get money, and it's all about getting the Benjamins. It's all about money. And then once people are obtaining this money, we're okay with dismissing or overlooking the behavior that has happened to get this money, right? And we see that with the rap industry. We see that with the gangster mentality. As long as if you've been able to secure a bag big enough, you're successful, no matter how you get there within the black community. Sometimes, and so I feel like when it comes to Chrisean, this is what is happening, right? You know, she brags and she thinks that I'm a woman. I'm making millions of dollars. I'm acting a fool. I'm showing my ass. I'm quite embarrassing myself. My family's been on this show. We've been fighting on there like Project Rats. Like it's been really disgusting, and that just is what it is. So let me show you some of the behaviors of Chrisean so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, so this is NLE Chopper watches Chrisean Rock perform at fashion show. So this is just her. Just anybody else dancing? Y'all see anybody else standing up and acting ghetto? No, you don't see anybody else doing any of that. I want to show you some more behavior of Chrisean so you can get the full understanding of what I'm talking about. Um, and there'll be a lot of people who will support and say, "Oh, she's getting money." Um, let me see more behavior of Chrisean. Oh, well, you can listen to their song that they just came out because everyone thought they were getting married, so I guess it was just for the video. Very happy to hear that. If you don't know, Chrisean is allegedly pregnant.
Was thinking about the same thing. Yours truly. Hey daddy, I was thinking about the same thing. When you had a baby on me, I just couldn't swallow the pain. Cause the love that you had, it wasn't for me. Now I'm so fucking glad we're ready for things. I know the last time I wrote you, I told you it'd be the last time I wrote you, but it's not. And I know your father ain't sorry for what he did to me in the role he played in that situation. He just sorry he got caught. Because if I was him and he was me, I would understand what's wrong and what's not. Because if my daughter put her hands on a man, yours truly.
Yeah, so, I mean, if you heard that, then you see what's going on here. Um, sometimes I don't even know what the fuck to say to this. But again, she's launching her music career. They recently did an interview on Clubhouse. You know, she says she's pregnant. He literally came on Clubhouse. I'm not came on the social media and said not his. She slept with 10 niggas in the last year or whatever, whatever. And it was sort of like, okay, y'all in an open relationship or you willingly knew she slept with 10 niggas. I'm not sure how that happens. Like, you know, multiple times. Like, so, you know, you kind of knew he was full of shit. Bobby Lights came out and said that, you know, Chrisean girl, I guess he has some relationship and told her this is not what you want to do. Go ahead and abort that. And there was actually some footage of, let me see if I can find that.
I don't even know where to start with you. You are
A work of art, my love. Um, First, you said, hold on, let's see. I want to address everything you said, and I want to respond because I don't have your number, and I'm not going to text Lenny for anything because it's not that serious. I said what I said, and I still feel the same what I feel. But you took it so wrong, and you felt the need to call me a gay nigga, which is fine because I am gay. You then went on to say how we both work for the same man, but and that I'm not getting paid what you're getting paid. You don't know. First of all, that may be true. I mean, you right now are a hot commodity. Everyone is literally watching your life down spiral. So I can see why you probably will be getting paid a shitload of money to, gaslighting you. Say is you tell me something you could probably take care of my ugly ass. That's how I know you really aren't ready for a baby. Like, that has nothing to do. Money doesn't mean that you're ready for a baby. I was saying that with love because I feel like everybody on the internet is just gaslighting you. Everyone is making you feel like it's going to be okay because here, it's okay, my sweet baby, it's going to be okay. Don't worry. It will be okay, but shouldn't nobody be enabling your behavior? You just announced you're pregnant 72 hours ago, and you already been in 2 altercations. One at the premiere to your show. You're supposed to be there with some type of class and grace, but no, you fighting people on your red carpet. My love, you're not ready for a baby. And that's all I have to say. I just have to say you're not ready for a baby. But for you to get so mad and say the things you said on live shows you got in your feelings for no reason. Because at the end of the day, I thought, I don't know. You give me like you can take criticism because you be rude as fuck to everybody else. You tear the people shit up, and then you be like, you got money, fix it. So I feel like you can take a simple tweet that I gave you. It wasn't. I didn't curse. I didn't say anything disrespectful, and I said at the end, I believe in you. Chrisean, I love you. I love you, and I'm praying for you. And it's nothing personal. Maybe I should have hit you up personally, but I don't have your number. And if I would have DM'd you, you would have went the fuck off on me. I don't even know where to start with you. You are a work of art, my love.
You know, the delusional crazy thing about Chrisean is that, she is one of those people who feel like she can handle and talk to people and do whatever the fuck she wants to people. And I really do have a problem with people who think that they can do whatever they want. But then there's this weird, don't be disrespectful. Don't do this, don't do that. To be all of these rules of like what you're supposed to do to engage with someone like her, right? You're vile, you're disgusting, you can't have a conversation. You're always insulting, you're always just being rude to people. So I'm not quite sure what Bobby said that irritated you, or the fact that you're just mad that he spoke on you. But nobody disrespected you. And you don't have to agree with what he said. He said it, right? You decide to get your ass on these cameras. You decide to put your whole life out there, right? You decide to be entertainment. You decided to be a topic of conversations. And this is what happens when you decide that you want this level of exposure and attention. People are going to fucking talk about you. And he didn't talk about you in a nasty way, right? But the way you handle people and the things that you've done, I don't know why you think people are going to handle you with kid gloves. You's a grown ass woman to me, and that's a period on period on period on period when it comes to me, right? You're just too disrespectful. And I say this all the time. Even when I think about the younger girls on Clubhouse, one, you bitches, I don't know your age, right? But if you play with me, I'm not gonna stop and try to figure that shit out too. I know you over 18, right? And that's the same way I feel about Chrisean. Ain't nobody gonna play with you. Ain't nobody gonna not say what it is, like, cause girl, you put it out there for that, right? So for me, I wanted to talk about Chrisean because let's see. But before I continue, hold on one second. Let's get to these comments and see what people say. Yeah, okay, so this is on the Hollywood Lock. As we previously reported, Lights decided to give the give the reality star some unwanted advice following her big pregnancy news. He tweeted, "Since everybody want to be fake and not keep it real on Beyonce's internet, I'll go ahead and say it. Chrisean, my sweet baby, you are not ready for a baby." So I'm not quite sure what she was so mad about. One day, yes. Um, I say this with so much love. Just take this time to grow and evolve. You can do it. I believe in you. Chrisean Rock wasn't you do it. I believe in you. Chrisean Rock wasn't too happy about what he had to say, so she went live to clap back. And then another thing I wanted to say, and this borderline touches on some real shit for me. Don't be a devilish, mean ass person doing fucked up shit to people in real fucking life and then turn around and talking about lift me up and provide me love. I need encouragement. Like, that's not, like, what? So what the fuck other people needed? I'm confused. Don't do that. Like, I hate that. Like, oh, you could have called me and all this other bullshit. Like, okay, here we go. Like, cause he was like even trying to encourage her. He's trying to encourage her, and like it's just like weird. She said, "You could have hit me up. People don't be doing shit for people be doing shit for clout." She continued, "You do shit for clout. Who gives a fuck what you think? I mean, you don't have to care, so don't respond. Mind your business." No, you put it out there so we can keep up with what's going on with you. I'm confused. I could take care of your ugly ass. I don't think Bobby Lights is ugly. I think he's gotten better looking than in the beginning. If I wanted to, before going live, Bobby Lights took to our comment section to say she's lying about us knowing each other. I met you twice, and the second time you were hostile and uneasy as fuck. Okay, exactly. Like, don't be Billy Badass, but then be like Snow White. Like, this ain't gonna, like, nobody gonna receive that or know what the fuck to do with that. That's gonna sound like crazy to people, right? You can give it, you all Billy Badass tough and, and then oh, don't hurt my feelings, don't say that. Oh, no. What the fuck? Make up your mind on what you want to be. Uh, what is that? I met you twice, and the second time you were hostile and uneasy as fuck. And I'm a Scorpio. I get along with everyone. We never exchanged info. I don't know about that Scorpio shit. Whew, them Scorpios are nothing nice. Um, y'all get, yeah, nothing nice. And I knew what I was doing by making that statement. If I would have DM'd you it, um, would have went in one. I guess he wanted to say I'm gonna just gonna phrase it because he left some things out. It happens. If I would have DM'd it, it would have went in one ear and out of the other. Again, ultimately, my advice was to uplift you. I didn't even know. Lift me up. Listen, you better pick a personality. Um, ultimately, my advice was to uplift you and encourage you. Never was meant to tear you down or cause you harm. He continued. Baby, she out here causing harm. Like, I'm confused. I am confused by it all. She done fought that boy's mama, his sister. She done been at studios kicking shit and tearing up studios. She done disrespected people. She done clocked people on the red carpet. How you clocking bitches and you pregnant? Now, let me tell you something real life. Like, if you pregnant and you go and the person that initiate contact with somebody and assault them and they turn around and beat your ass and something, God forbid something happens for your kid, that's your fault. That's nobody else's fault but your own, right? You're not going to be out here thinking that you can put your hands on people because you pregnant and they can't respond to you. Are you dumb? Huh. All right, so let's see. Bobby still had more to say. This world is so fickle because this valid message is coming from someone like me. The outrage begins. OMG, how dare you not mind your business when it comes to a woman's body? Like, really? Shut the fuck up. Y'all really just don't like me and can't take the advice coming from me. Simple, but oh fucking well. That's a fact. 6,444 people. And I agree. Sometimes people will not like your message. Well, I'm sorry, some people will love your message or even find themselves repeating it or their homegirls repeating it, but because it comes from you, they can't receive it. Get the fuck out of here. That's hater shit. That's just hater. Like, it is what it is. A message is a good message. Let me see. He didn't say nothing wrong. Everybody else giving their opinion just mad because it came from him. Exactly. But it's true. She all over the place, mentally, emotionally, no self-control. She need to chill. He's not lying and she's not. And yes, we know a lot of well put together people wasn't ready when they had their kids. However, going around fighting people and initially putting yourself in harm's way is not okay, and that's what makes her not ready. Y'all do know it's against the law to attack a pregnant woman. Exactly. So what happens to the pregnant woman who's the aggressor? Well, this person, we on the same level. A lot of y'all women telling him to stay out of women's business is gaslighting her, just like he said. Facts. This girl needs help, not a damn baby. Agreed. And it's so funny because I think from what I hear, I think her mom was like, and her father were like toxic like this to each other. I think allegedly she bragged about her mom trying to stab, or not brag, it was brought up that her mom tried to stab her father, and this is what she grew up seeing. So for her, this is really normal behavior. Like, and I think her father and her mother had like 8 kids, 7 or 8 kids. So like, this is normal shit. We just there's a camera on it. Uh, what else? Someone said that her erratic behavior plus postpartum could be very dangerous, and that's true. I don't think she actually wants a child to love and protect, but because she wants to be tied to BlueFace. I don't know if I think she wants to be tied to BlueFace. I think if she's had 3 abortions or shit already, then she would have already took that opportunity. I think as a woman, it's like, okay, enough is enough. I can't keep doing that to myself. And that's what I think. But I don't necessarily know if I feel like it's to be tied to him. I agree with Bobby 100%. This girl can't even be grown enough to talk to a therapist, which she clearly needs to get to the bottom of her serious issues. How can she be the best parent she can be if she can't be the best for herself? We shouldn't speak on who's ready to be a mother. We should just send prayers and wish her well. I've seen a lot of women change for the better after having a baby. That is a fact, but it's also a gamble. It's also yeah, it's also a gamble at the expense of a child at the same time. So, sit back and watch. It could all work out. Is just that throw it up in the air type of shit. But I find it interesting that a lot of people will, tell this woman that it's okay if she has this baby by this nigga who they clearly aren't right for each other. But then a lot of times there'll be conversations. You should have chose better. You should have did better. You should have planned, and you should have. And when someone comes out to say, okay, this is not a good choice, you should really think about it. All of a sudden, don't say nothing. Like, it's just weird. Period. I agree with Bobby. Her hype will die out soon. Bobby isn't lying. She isn't ready. I'm just going to pray for her, though, because what else could we do at this point? He should just have DM'd her. Like, whatever. Bobby, you traumatized us in our videos. I'm still having nightmares. No, I'm not going to lie. I know the video she's talking about. If it's the video where he had his whole booty hole out for OnlyFans, I'm not like, I mean, I will say this after seeing his booty hole video. I was like, I was like, he's really all one color everywhere. He ain't got no dark spots. He bright light in his ass. Oh yeah, that video was most definitely traumatized. Kaya is a asshole for real, like for real. I don't think I've seen Kaya on Twitter since then. Like shit, Kaya had to go low after that. She was crazy. Like yo, it was like yo, what side of the bed Kaya gonna wake up on and decide she just want to zing ya? All right, so that's all we got today. I just wanted to talk. Oh no, that's not all we got. So I wanted to bring up Chrisean, but then I also wanted to bring up like when family really don't play, and when you really out here trying to stand on like being a grown woman and demanding your respect, and your family don't play about that, right? So let's see. Any other video I wanted to show them? Oh, right. When you disrespect yourself in the public eye and you show the world what you're willing to do for monetary to make money. This is the last thing I'm gonna show you about Chrisean's behavior, and I don't know how any parent or could be proud.
Like that. Yeah. Yeah. Get up in there. How was that? All right. You want me to eat the bottom too? Yeah. Get the pinky toe.
This is so degrading and disgusting.
What you want me like? What you want?
Crazy in love. That's so disgusting. So that's Chrisean Rock sucks BlueFace toes and licks bottom of his feet on bonus episode of Crazy in Love. Like, you know, she from them people, Baltimore, that school system I just talked about. This is crazy, y'all. Like, if I was a parent, I'd be so disgusted. I'd be so embarrassed. I don't care how much money she's making. She is sucking on a man's foot on TV. So, y'all be saying this shit ain't real life and this shit don't happen in real life, and I'm here to tell you that's a damn lie. I've seen something kind of similar to the same thing. Now, the girl wasn't sucking on his toes, but she was most definitely, he went out his way to show this young girl, I think at the time, if I think about the ages, he had to either be 28 and 29 and she had to be either 19 and 20. And he had this young girl and he was dating. It was just talking about just how real life, this shit happens in real life. And he's dating this 19, 20-year-old girl. And if she likes sucking his toes and that's how they get down, ain't nobody mad about that. Like, that is what it is. But the problem is it being on TV and it seemed as if though, wow, it's so disturbing to watch. The problem is that it's being on TV and as if though you're trying to show this woman in a very vulnerable place of being where she wants to satisfy and love this man and do whatever the fuck he, wants her to do. And she just thinks this is love. Like, sucking my man's toes and he's just showing the world, I got it like this, right? Sitting back. And so reciprocity in like real relationships is like, okay, so why is her toe not in his mouth? Like right now, like then I'd be like, okay, I'm not bothered. But why is her toes not in her mouth, in his mouth? Like, why is he not equally trying to show him satisfying her? So back to the story in real life. So this nigga's dating this young girl, and word around town, she's back page as pussy popping ass girl, and he's showing the world how she giving him a pedicure, how she washing his clothes and cleaning his room for him, and he's putting this all out on the internet to show like the what she's doing for him, and that's some strange ass sick ass behavior. Um, Strange ass sick ass behavior that that a man would feel like that's something that the public needs to see, right? A pimp does shit like that to show how he got a bitch in check. That's that pimp mentality making itself into like real relationships. All right, y'all, that's all I got. Like, I just can't. Let me see what the people are saying on this one. The no, Eliza Rain. Okay, girl. Okay, Eliza. So, and then, the hell no is what she's saying. Get the pinky toe. Don't laugh. Nobody, BlueFace. Let me put my big toe in your coochie. What? That's happening? Laugh from my eyes. Like, it's the munching noises when she go to the bottom. Like, is she really in love with this nigga? The way she looking at him, you can tell she's like in love. They trying their best to make us watch this show, but it's not happening. Somebody watching. If she talking about she got a couple millions of dollars, I can't imagine hating myself to this degree. Facts, girl. I couldn't imagine. In 20 years, we should be in be entitled to financial compensation for having to see this every day. I facts. I'm tired of her. I can't lie. I don't even feel bad for her no more. I never felt bad. Like, because it's not one sided. Like, these are equally toxic people. She puts her hands on him. He puts his hands on her, and they all feel like it's for the making a bag. I'm convinced she would eat his poop if he asked her. She thinks this proves her love for him, but it means very little to him, unfortunately. Wow, that's sad. How much they paying you to post this? Because at this point, I need some compensation for this kind of abuse. This is deadly obsession. I know y'all want her to wake up and leave, but she's too far gone. She doesn't care about nothing but him. I'm not quite sure how it's obsession, right? I don't know. I don't know if I feel like it's obsession. And at this point, the amount of pain that they inflict on each other, I think they are equally then obsessed with each other. Because, I mean, she hits him. She goes off. She's embarrassed him. Like, she's done a lot of crazy shit, too. She hit him in the head with a bottle. So I'm not quite sure, like, how people come up with, like, perspectives that paint Chrisean in a certain way of being obsessed or totally, overly in love. Like, bitch, that bitch hit you in the head with a bottle. Like, you need to get away from her. Love yourself. Kang. Her voice sounds like someone biting rocks. I don't know how to explain it. Can y'all please stop posting this couple? Please. Ain't that much love in the world. It sure as ain't. It sure as hell ain't. And so I want to show you a brighter example of like a family who don't play. And a girl who shows up online with her man, but ain't playing these Chrisean type of games. So this is Sky. Sky Haley is the big sister of Haley Bailey and Chloe Bailey, and I guess supposedly Haley Bailey and her boyfriend DDG, who's I think he's a rapper, they have broken up. Long story short, we only think that they broke it up because I think he took all of her pictures down off of the internet, off his Instagram, and then there was this like sub post where he posted, "Girls are all the same," like so implying something about like Haley may have done something scandalous to him in terms of like what may have caused this breakup. So, sister said, I woke up and seen that was like, oh no. And so we're going to listen to her.
Broke up.
This clown out.
Hey, good morning, y'all. So what I don't like is when I wake up or when I go on YouTube first thing in the morning and I see my sister on the blogs and it's over some dude. Daryl, DDG, like, bruh, what's wrong with you? Hallie's not like the ones that you've been with. You will not treat her the way that you've treated these others. I don't give a freak if y'all had issues going on. That's what you won't do. Please understand that. Like, you're not going to do her the way that you did everybody else. You're not going to come to social media and try to put her on blast and insinuate or put out something to make it seem like she was doing something that she wasn't doing. You need to pipe down and get yourself together. If y'all broke up, then you need to just unfollow and just keep it pushing. You don't have to put nothing out there like that about all these girls is the same. Are you dumb? Are you stupid? Hey, good morning, y'all. So what I don't like is when I wake up.
Alright, so that is Sky Bailey letting it be known. Like, don't, like, nigga, is you dumb? Like, we don't even show up like that. That's not how we rolling. That's not how we behaving now. I mean, Chloe is really gyrating a lot on these social medias, but she's just letting it be known, like, my sister don't play that. She's not Chrisean out here. She's not putting all her business out here. She's not behaving in a way that you would think that you could play with her in this type of manner. And we not them people from them Baltimore's who's related to Chrisean. We not gonna play these kind of ghetto ass games. Are you dumb? Like, basically, are you dumb? All right, so it says here, Haley Bailey's sister Sky took on social media to call out DDG after he had fans speculating if Haley cheated on him with his little tweet and delete, along with unfollowing her and deleting their pictures. That's right, Sky got him together. We will not tolerate any slander of our little black mermaid. I know that's right, Sky. I know that's right. Someone wrote they got another sister. I don't even know there was another sister. I like her. Yeah, I like her too. Yeah, for real. Get Buddy all the way together. Don't say it's not her business when he made it the whole damn internet's business, especially if you trying to make it like that girl on some fuck shit. She has every right to clarify. Like she said, y'all broke up, cool, keep it pushing, but don't try to low key shade or bash her. That's what's not gonna cut it. That's what family for. Defend me in public and behind my back. Exactly. Exactly. And the Chrisean family can't even defend her because they just as crazy as she is. Like, and they on that same type of ghetto ass shit, okay? People are praising the sis, but to me, this wasn't her place to say publicly unless he disrespects her sis, and this wasn't nothing to respond to until her sis responded. Well, I mean, what he tried to imply was not it, and so she wanted to get it together because she know her sister was not going to be able to do that, and she's not that type of person. So she didn't disrespect him, she didn't swear at him, she didn't cuss him out, she didn't expose him in any type of business. But what she spoke to is what is her business, which is her sister. So I'm not quite sure like what's the problem. um why folks can't just move in silence. Just go on about y'all business. Go vent to your family and friends if you're having a hard time. Don't come to social media. Exactly. Quit running to the internet if you have problems. No relationship is perfect, but going to the internet would turn me completely off. I can understand that. Like if I'm in a relationship, someone said this big sister is me as fuck. I hear that. If I'm in a relationship with somebody, I don't like public shit. Like I don't. Like I don't. Like even if I'm wrong or even if we mad at each other, let's hold it together till we get home. Like I do not like public display of bullshit. Like because whatever like I'm a mirror for real. Like whatever you give me in this moment, I'm going to have to meet you at I'm gonna have to meet you at your level, right? So I don't like that. Like I said, all couples argue, go through things, but have enough respect to keep that shit in the house. All that overly emotional going back and forth in front of people. I have nothing to prove about to people about a relationship that I would be in. So having to prove something to people is just not my thing. So yeah, let's not do the public. But once you go to the internet about some shit, I'm gonna go to the internet about some shit. So you got to be easy with that, because I have a mouth on me. But outside of that, I don't put my relationship stuff on Clubhouse. I don't even talk about relationship stuff. Like even my own relationship stuff, there's very rarely am I ever mentioning like guys that I'm dating and stuff like that on social media. That's just never been my thing. So I've never actually dogged any actual guy that I've dated, an actual fucked, been in a relationship with. So I don't know. That's weird. I think people come up with their own narratives about me and they make believe stories. But an actual man that I was dating, no, I've never had any public online incidents with them. So it is what it is. She should have just kept quiet, left allow it's not for her place. No, I think she did the right thing. I think a lot of men will try to play with the reputation of women and will try to insinuate and apply a lot of things that will be damaging to them in terms of like what the public may think, right? Oh, she's one of those quiet, sneaky ones, right? And I think that would have been applied, right? Because she is a really quiet person. She doesn't talk too much. She don't put too much of her business out there. So yes, people would have thought she's a quiet, sneaky type of female who, do their dirt on the low, and she just got caught. From what he tried to imply. So I have no problem with what the sister did. Oh, we gonna clear this up real quick. Like that ain't my sister. She don't move like that, and you won't paint her like that. Other men would think that. Like it just is what it is. First of all, they're so beautiful. Secondly, I don't like how he brought it to the internet. This is not Ruby. Act accordingly. Okay, exactly. Because I will definitely step publicly and in privately about mine. That's not your business, but yeah, come on, sis, because he tried it. Yeah, he tried it. Like some of those who really get like how these dynamics and how these things work and how men can really publicly maim a woman, and that's MANE, publicly maim a woman by insulting her character. Like I said, I've had it happen to me, right? That same story I tell y'all, and I'm gonna continue telling y'all, because you're gonna either figure it the fuck out about who's been obsessed or what has happened and all that other weirdo shit. Was I think one of the most hurtful things that I think happened was him getting online and telling people I wanted his babies, like, was crazy to me. Like, I've never talked to this man about children. Like, told people that I'm just mad because he gave all his babies away. I think the other second thing that was really that I was paying him, I was paying him $250 for dick. Never been alone with this man. There's no text messages that would suggest that we've had any type of intimate or long conversations about me wanting his dick. I'm so disgusted. So like, yeah, that never happened. Now, just to remind y'all, we're gonna get out of here on this. This same person, so manipulative. He's gotten caught creating text messages. Like, he used to do things like one of his friends had to expose him because they finally fell out. And the thing about when you fall out with people, you can't be falling out with people that you do dirt with. He had a friend, and so when he was trying, because what he would do fucked up shit to people. And then he has this way of always flipping it around and making it seem like people are stalking him, people are obsessed with him, people can't leave him alone. And so he would always just like post these like text messages and say, look, I can't, why are people texting me? What's wrong with people? Leave me alone, blah, 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 blah. Long story short, he fell out with a homeboy, and his homeboy posted how he would tell him, the dude would tell his homeboy to text him certain things, right? And so what he would then do would go in and change that person's name in his phone to, let's say he wanted to say it was Rebecca or something like that. He would take his homeboy's information, change it to Rebecca's name, have his homeboy text him a whole bunch of stuff. And so when he goes take that screenshot, what you have is the latest messages from the homeboy of the different things that he wants to be captured into a text message, right? Yeah. So he would most definitely stage and do things like that when he knows he's a complete liar. Like, he'll just make up shit and stuff like that. So these people exist. So I have no problem with with Sky clearing her sister's name, because yeah, it does imply niggas be lying. Niggas be lying. That's it. Y'all be blessed out there. Y'all be bougie SF, posh SF, black SF, and y'all be black, y'all. And don't forget to follow me on the Instagram at bougieaf underscore ish, and also on Twitter at I'm bougie underscore AF. I am out.